Hi, this is Brad with Caldwell's Roofing. I wanted to do a video showing how to add on two separate percentages. Let's say that you're doing a job and you've got an original contract price of $10,000 and you've got a financing fee of 3.25% that you'll have to pay to Wells Fargo or whoever you're using for your financing, and you have to pay a 3.25% credit card fee for processing the payment via credit card. So how do you add both those percentages on? Now I've done a previous video showing basically this stuff over here and how we end up with this formula right here, 1 over 1 minus x, to basically convert a percentage that you want to have deducted from your new total based off of some percentage, converting that to a multiplying factor. So, so let's say that you had some amount of hard job costs and you wanted to end up with 30% net margin. Well, you don't just multiply by 1.3, you actually have to do 1 over 1 minus 0.3, or 30%, that's 0.3. And so you get 1 over 0.7, and so that ends up being 1.428. So you would actually multiply by this factor here in order to get your 30% of your final total price, that newer price that you come up with. So, that's in a separate video, but here I wanted to see how we can actually take two percentages. And so basically to convert 3.25 to a multiplying factor, it ends up being 3.36, or stated more correctly, 1.0336. That's how you would actually multiply it. So you might think that to come up with this, a true newbie would probably think you just multiply by, that plus that divided by 100 plus 1. So like 1.065, because 0.0325 plus 0.0325 gives you 0.065, and then you just add that to 1 and multiply by that. Well, we know that's not the case. So, but it's also not the case that you just take your multiplying factor of 1.0336 and add the 336 twice and come up with 1.0672. That also is not correct. So what you need to do is you need to go back to this equation, 1 over 1 minus x. And for the x, we need to go ahead and sum together both of these percentages, because these are going to come off the total price. These aren't coming off of your contract price. You've got to add in and be able to compensate and get all of that 3%, 3.25% for both of those items out of your new price and still end up with $10,000. Because you don't want to have to be paying for the fact that the customer gets the privilege of using the credit card or the financing or whatever. That's an added benefit, and so they need to go ahead and pay for that. So we plug this in and we get 1 over 1 minus 0.0325 times 2. At least that's what that's one standard credit card fee or finance fee. So that ends up simplifying to 1 over 1 minus 0.65, which simplifies to 1 over 0.935. And so we end up with this right here, 1.0695 is the multiplication factor. And if you take half of the 6.95%, you get 3.475. And so that's the new converted multiplication factor, basically. If we come over here, we can prove this. 10,000 times that number gives you 10,695. And then we go ahead and take out the financing fee, which is going to be 3.25%, or 0.0325, which ends up being $347.50. And the credit card fee is not going to say, hey, you've already paid this financing fee, so we'll deduct that off of the total price. No, they want 3.25% of that total price. Both of these guys want 3.25% of this new arbitrary number that we're supposed to come up with via math. So they both want the same amount off of that. So they also end up wanting 347.50. And so when you do the math, you do the 10,695, that's what we came up with, minus the one fee, minus the other fee, and we're left with exactly $10,000. And so we as the contractor retain our full contract price, and the customer pays the exact cost for both the financing and the credit card privileges. So just remember, you just always go back to this equation, 1 over 1 minus x. And if you've got multiple percentages, it doesn't matter how many, just go ahead and summate all those percentages right there into that x value. And that x is 0 point something. It's not, if you have 30%, you don't plug 30 in there, you plug 0.3. Or if you have 3%, you plug 0.03. So that's it right there in a nutshell. Hope that's helpful to you.